listening to Something Cheeky, a collection of podcasts where two sisters discuss TV, books, and movies with just enough irreverence and far too many pop culture references.
Welcome to Something Cheeky, where we discuss the TV series Vikings. I'm Nikki.
I'm Rosanna.
Well, I've watched the entire series. Rosanna has only watched up to what we're covering today, which is Season 1, Episode 6, Burial of the Dead. In this episode, a fight to the death gets 4 people killed, and Ragnar is not one of them. Rosanna, what was your reaction to this episode?
I was worried.
Yeah, a lot happened. Yeah.
I was confused. I was appalled. No, not really. I was really surprised at the way Earl Haraldson talked about Ragnar the night before the fight.
Oh, that he respected him?
Yeah. That was not the vibe he was giving off before at all.
Right.
I thought it was weird that he said that he knew about the Western lands.
In his heart.
Yeah, but... Okay, I got some issues with that. He seemed very confident about going into the fight. And he assured Siggy that the seer said he was going to win. But I didn't really get that from what the seer said.
No, neither did I.
So I almost feel like the Earl was lying to her.
And maybe to himself, too.
Maybe so. I had some questions about Theory's situation. Yeah, there was just a whole lot of... And it seemed like a lot of time passed just in this episode. A whole season.
Many months.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. A lot of changes. I mean, the whole situation for these people changed.
Everyone's lives changed.
Yeah, definitely.
In this episode.
Yeah. I mean, they went from living with Floki in a tiny house to the Earl's house.
Well, and even Ragnar's friends who had been out of favor are suddenly in favor with the Earl.
Yeah, it was a big shift in everything. For sure.
What was your favorite quote this time?
The quote that I picked was when everyone was swearing their loyalty to Ragnar and his family.
Oh, I know what you're going to say now.
Do you?
I think so.
So Rollo goes to Ragnar. Ragnar says, "You don't have to swear." Rollo says, "I will swear." And then, like, practically in the same breath, "How will we ever be equal now, brother?"
And then the creepy music. I wrote that quote down, too.
And I was like, you're so twisted, dude. Yeah. I never know where that guy is at. I mean, he's saying, "I will be loyal to you and your family," and then just turns right around and says something that is so antagonistic. What do you even do with that? And Ragnar's just like, psh, Rollo. Like,
I don't know.
No, he needs to take it a lot because...
I think the look on his face was... He took it more seriously.
I think it was a look like, yeah, Rollo's irritated that we're not equal, but I don't think he ever takes him as seriously as he should.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, oh, that's Rollo. He's so jealous. Right?
Yeah.
That made me very nervous. And then, of course, the whole thing with Siggy. "Why don't you marry me? I'll be the Earl someday." Rollo, no, you won't. Stop it. Don't do that. Also, if he's planning on being the Earl, to me it seems like that means he's planning on Ragnar being dead. So, if he's planning on Ragnar being dead, why wouldn't he want to marry Lagertha instead?
I don't know if he...
There's just a lot of questions.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past Rollo to marry Lagertha if he wanted to.
And what, divorce Siggy? Or just murder her?
Do what he needs to do to get exactly what he wants.
I know he will. I know he does do exactly what he needs to do to get exactly what he wants. This episode, I mean, every episode with this guy...
Well, and up to this point, we've been able to rationalize away what he's done because it's not always super clear what his purpose is.
Right.
But at the end of this episode, it becomes very clear what his purpose is. Because really, if he's going to be Earl, you have to, even if he doesn't want to kill Ragnar, he has to overthrow him in some way.
Yeah.
So in some way, he would have to betray Ragnar.
Yeah.
To get what he says he's going to do.
Yep.
I can't rationalize that one away.
Rollo.
Also, I think that Vikings may have sometimes had multiple wives.
Oh.
I'm not positive that's true. I should look that one up.
Okay.
But it's possible.
Yeah, I
don't know. We'll see. Okay.
I can't imagine Lagertha's the kind of girl who would be down with that.
You don't think she wants to have a second wife involved?
I really don't think she does seem like that kind of person at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, into the action.
Okay.
The beginning of the episode has a ton of back and forth between the Earl and Ragnar. We get the challenge from Floki, who is just giggling like crazy.
Oh, God, that guy.
He just makes me think of Cheyenne on Superstore, who giggles when she's nervous. Which is so funny when she does that.
Yeah.
It's so awkward. So now I just want Cheyenne to appear in the background of Vikings.
Oh, man, she would look so out of place.
Oh, yeah. It would be hilarious.
With the blue eyeshadow.
The Earl is surprised about the duel challenge. He looks scared at first and gives really conflicting information, saying that it would make, if he accepted it, it would make people think that he saw Ragnar as an equal. And then, 30 seconds later, accepts the challenge.
Yeah. He was kind of all over the place. And I actually kind of started to feel bad for him because I've been pretty hard on him the last episode because...
He's been terrible.
Yeah, he is terrible. But, I mean, he got killed, so I felt a little bad for him. But just a little. Not so much because, I was really worried about how cocky Ragnar was going into this fight. Mm-hmm. Because he was pretty seriously still injured. I mean, he was limping.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously limping.
I wondered if that was a put-on to make him seem weaker than he was. Just like when he pretended before.
Yeah, but after he won, he was still doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, that fight took everything out of him that he had built up over those months. So I was worried about how cocky he was. And I think that maybe that was a good point that he said to Lagertha earlier, is that makes us equals. Mm-hmm. Because Haraldson was quite a bit older than him.
Yeah, with Haraldson leaving this episode, dying, so Gabriel Byrne leaving this episode, I think that for me it seemed like there was so much writing that didn't quite gel with everything we've seen before from the Earl. Like, they were trying to make him seem not so bad for his last episode.
They were trying to give him, like, some redeeming characteristics, like, of respecting Ragnar and of believing that there were lands to the west and all this. And that was very against previous character.
Right. It didn't fit.
It really was not good.
Talking about Ragnar when he said that it could make them equal, Lagertha had said, never fight unless the odds are in your favor.
Just like in the Hunger Games.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yep.
It would be amazing if there was a Viking Hunger Games.
Oh my gosh, there would be so much blood. It sure wouldn't last as long.
Those kids would be seriously violent.
It would be like a 45-minute Hunger Games, and then everybody would go home for dinner.
Yeah. In the second season of Vikings, do you remember Cato from the Hunger Games?
Oh, just barely.
Yeah, he was near the very end.
Yeah.
He's in Vikings.
Oh.
He joins the cast in the second season.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
That seems like a good fit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Alexander Ludwig. He works really well. He also has ridiculous haircuts.
Yeah.
Just like everyone else.
It was the style, I guess.
Yeah.
It's the style that they chose.
He's good casting though, because he's a very large guy.
Yeah.
Anyhow, and he's got the blonde thing going on. And
yeah, that seems like a good fit.
I'm excited for you to see who he is, but I'm not going to tell you.
Boo.
I know. Siggy is really surprised when the Earl does say that the seer promised he was going to die. Do you think she believed him?
I think that she wanted to believe him, and so she did.
Does anyone think he can win? Does the Earl think he can win?
Who possibly would put money on that guy?
Yeah.
I mean, people have met Ragnar, right? They've heard his stories. He's the one who wanted to go west. He actually made it there. He brought back a bunch of treasure. He's obviously a good warrior. The Earl is twice as old as him. Hello?
Yeah.
Who's putting money on the Earl? Even with Ragnar's injuries, I mean, nobody knows how badly he's injured. So the Earl doesn't even really know.
Right.
He just knows that he's been in hiding. He doesn't know that's because he's had such a bad injury that he had to heal.
And if I were the Earl, I wouldn't expect someone that badly injured to challenge me to a fight before they were revealed.
Exactly. What made him think that he could win?
I don't know.
Is he so deluded?
He does really well, considering.
Okay, yes.
But that's just because Ragnar is injured.
Well, and also, it's because he's fighting for his life. He's gonna be stronger and better because of the adrenaline and the fear and all that kind of stuff. But the seer did not give him an indication that this was going to be a slam dunk.
All the seer said was that he looks for your death.
Yeah, the seer said Ragnar wants you to be dead, and that would make him the Earl. He didn't say, you're gonna die, Ragnar's gonna die, you're gonna kill Ragnar. No, he didn't say any of that. Mm-mm. And anybody, blind seer or, random dude from the street, could have said Ragnar wants you dead. Look what you did to his brother. Yeah. He looks like the Joker now. You ruined his pretty face. You tortured him. Ragnar hates you.
Rollo wasn't as injured as I expected him to be. He had the cuts on his face, but it didn't look like they'd cut his mouth open, Joker style.
Yeah, but the cuts went all the way up his eyes.
Yeah, they were pretty ugly.
Horribly disfiguring. This just seemed... I mean, I'm glad that Haraldson's gone, because I didn't like his character. I didn't like the way he was written. I didn't like the way he was played. I didn't like his entire attitude. Was just all bad. So I'm glad he's gone. But it was weird that they tried to make us think that he had any confidence in winning at all. Or that anybody did.
Right. So before we get into the duel, I want to talk about how the hair extensions are on point in this show. They are so good. You can't even tell. It looks like it's everyone's natural hair. And I know that Gabriel Byrne does not have hair down to the middle of his back.
No.
And it looks weird that he has hair that long. But there was no obvious...
It looks like hair. It looks like his hair, yeah.
And it didn't look like a wig.
I did think it was weird, too, though, speaking of hair, that he went into a single combat duel with free-flowing locks.
Yes.
He didn't pull it back in a bun. He didn't braid it. It was just down in his face. I can't even, write in my journal with my hair down because it's so distracting. I certainly couldn't fight to the death. So... I mean, that was weird, right? That he didn't pull it back.
Oh my god.
It was just down over his shoulders. He was like, I just conditioned it recently. I wanted to die with good hair. It was really struck me as weird. As a person with long hair.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about that. It's just weird. So, yeah. But you're right. None of the hair was distracting to me as... if it wasn't natural hair. Some of it's distracting as being ugly, as an ugly hairstyle. But it all looks like real hair.
Mm-hmm. Well, so many people have extensions in this show. Ragnar's got them. Rollo's got them.
Does Lagertha have them? I bet she does.
I would expect so, because they put her hair in so many braids, you'd have to have a lot of fake hair there.
And it's really long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know she has a bunch of blonde hair, Catherine Winnick.
Yeah.
But I don't think she has that much. That's pretty rare for the styles that they do with her hair.
Also, Siggy's hair. I can't imagine that that's all real.
She's just wearing a bop it. It's fine. Bump it. That's what it's called. A bump it. Not a bop it. I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is totally correct, but that Clive, the guy that plays Rollo, they spent 9 hours putting his extensions in.
Oh my gosh.
I imagine he must, sleep in them and wear them for a significant amount of time, so it's not every day, but...
Oh, it has to be the season.
But that is a long time.
That really is.
And he has short hair. I mean, it's gotta be a lot of work to make that happen.
Also, why doesn't he just grow his hair out?
It'd take a really long time. Also, he does other stuff. He's on, Taken, is that the show?
What? The movie?
Yeah, he's on... It's a new show this season, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's like the Liam Neeson movie.
Right.
I haven't seen it yet, but he has short hair on that.
Oh, I didn't know he was in that. I'll have to... I haven't even seen previews for that. Really, they made that movie into a show, huh?
I think so.
Okay.
I imagine, because he's so much younger, I imagine it's the prequel version of how he got these skills that he talks about.
The prequel version of his daughter getting kidnapped. I bet you're wondering how I got into this situation.
Scratch!
Alright, listeners, if you guys have seen this show, tell us about it. I would love to hear what
tell
this
us if
is
it's any
about.
good.
Yeah.
I want to know if it's worth my time.
And how Rollo does in it.
And so Rollo now has those scars, and I always feel bad when major characters
when they
get
have
scars.
to put it on them every time they...
For the rest of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on his face, too, so that's got to take a lot of work to make it blend in and look natural.
I think that exact same thing, especially like when I watch Tyrion on Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Which, his scar isn't even close to what happened to him in the book.
Right, he lost most of his nose.
Right, I mean, half his face is a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But even just putting that scar on every time he is filmed, it just...
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Man, okay, so let's get into the duel.
Okay.
They get to choose their own weapon, which is not what I'm used to in general duel rules. Usually, one person chooses the weapon for both of them.
Usually the person that got challenged, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a really nice power play on the Earl's part to throw that first shield away.
Yeah. I didn't really get that.
I think it was a bad idea, but...
Yeah. Okay,
It made him seem very confident and made everyone cheer for him.
Right. And Ragnar's like, well, whatever. I'm still gonna beat you. I'll throw my shield away, too. Let's do this.
And the fighting was very intense.
Yeah.
When Ragnar's sword broke, I did not expect them to get a second weapon. They didn't say anything about all the weapons you need.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to have to strangle a bitch up in there. I wasn't sure what was going to happen next.
I was real worried about him not having a weapon and the Earl having a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently that's okay. That's not how it works.
He just got an axe now.
He's like, somebody give me something else.
Yeah, that was...
Pretty
much.
much.
All the shields. I expected it to be the same thing with the swords as the shields.
Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense. You can have all the swords and axes you want, but 2 shields is the limit.
Yeah, that's all you get. And we saw Lagertha lose hope at least twice during the duel.
Oh, poor Lagertha. She was really scared.
And based on what we find out later, that she's pregnant at that time.
Yes.
You know, it must be
terrifying.
Even a bigger deal for her, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's one of the few people that knows how weak Ragnar is at that point, too.
Yes. And I will say, too, before, just going back real quick before the actual duel, when they're still at Floki's, Ragnar gets up the morning after he and Lagertha have had the talk, and she's sewing, and he sits up, and he just gives the sweetest, most endearing look to Lagertha and to his daughter and to his son, and he smiles at them just like, it's all fine, it's all gonna be okay. And they both smile back at him, and it's just it was such a sweet scene.
It was a nice moment.
And that was probably a really scary time for those kids, and they know that he's weak, but for him to smile at them in such a sweet and loving way, I think he was giving them comfort. Whether it was deserved or not. I mean, whether it was... Right. Because that's terrifying. It's a terrifying thing to see how weak your dad is and then to go watch him fight. But that was just a scene that I really, really liked a lot. It's just a really nice little family.
In the duel, it seems like they're pretty well matched at that point with all the weakness Ragnar has.
Yep.
But he overcomes. I'm sure you figured Ragnar was going to win, I'm guessing.
I knew that Ragnar was going to win. I wasn't sure if Haraldson was going to die.
Okay.
Until he slit his wrist, I thought maybe they were going to let him live, but just, like, injured. Or maybe let him go die somewhere in a bed or whatever. But he was like, nope, this is going to be final. And he does it, and Siggy freaks out. Of course, because that's a horrible thing. But then the Earl, he just lays there, and he's just has this very, like, look of acceptance. And then
he dies really well.
Fine. Yeah, then he's fine. He's like, you know what?
It seems painless.
I'm going to see the boys. Yeah. I'm going to see the boys tonight. I'll be in Valhalla. I'm tired. I just don't want to fight anymore. I mean, he definitely just seems like he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Which also, I mean, gosh, this character doesn't seem like... he doesn't seem very
out
consistent.
Of character for him.
Yeah, he's not a very consistent character. He gets to this point, and it's like you think he would keep fighting... Because he's made such a big stink about it.
Well, he seemed consistent up until this episode, and suddenly they gave him all these positive feelings traits he had not had before.
Yeah. Here, have some emotion.
Yeah.
And then he just was gone, and that was it. Which, good. But, yeah.
Rollo comes through with killing the Major Domo. I loved that.
Me too.
That was fantastic.
So good.
Kill him! Kill him! Swack!
Yeah, if I were that guy, as soon as Haraldson's wrist got slit, I would have been a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
I would have started running immediately.
I think he knew that was his only chance, though, was to try to rile the crowd to be on his side.
Well, he doesn't know that crowd very well, then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, there was nothing else he could have done.
Run. He should have run. Or at least shut up.
Mm-hmm. And then something interesting happened, which showed that Siggy and Theory were definitely planning just for what they would do in case the Earl died. Siggy walks over to Theory, who hands her a knife she had ready, and then stabs the husband. They were obviously, I mean, it was totally premeditated.
Yep.
So Earl Drunk Swede dies.
Yep.
Thank God.
Yes.
Poor Theory. That guy was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Were you surprised at that? You couldn't have seen that coming.
No, I did not. I did not see that coming. It was it was a big surprise that had been planned to me, I think.
I guess that was a perfect moment to do something like that, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Siggy gets in nice and early with the Hail Earl Ragnar.
So she doesn't get killed.
Yeah. She knows where the wind is blowing.
Yep.
And suddenly, Lagertha looks very regal in her fur coat.
Yes.
And she suddenly is showing up then with very nice dresses that I'm sure she did not own before that.
No. She looks very comfortable in her lady's chair.
Mm-hmm.
Little smirk on her face.
I was just imagining some sort of princess makeover where Siggy took her into her closet or was like Clueless or something.
Montage!
And just dressed her in all her fancy outfits and furs and jewels.
Yeah, there's one thing about this show that I find it really hard to follow the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a lot of time, sometimes there's a little time, and I can't tell always how much time has passed, and they don't really give a lot of clues.
Yeah.
It could be the next day, it could be 2 hours later, it could be 2 weeks later.
Well, at the very end of the episode when they went to Northumbria and it said 794.
Yeah.
I had to look it up to see the pilot when it said 793. It was only a year.
Right, yeah. That's what I was thinking,
so
too.
So much happened.
Yeah.
I mean, and that included the, 6 months? Because Lagertha was about 6 months pregnant, she looked.
Yeah.
So that stuff happened really quickly.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell how much time passes.
Yeah. I really enjoyed when Ragnar went inside the longhouse and seemed kind of hesitant to take over.
Yeah.
Unsure of his leadership, but then started to get a little bit excited, I guess realizing how much freedom it meant for him.
Yeah.
But all his friends are looking at him and Athelstan's looking at him like, yes.
Yeah.
Do it. So excited for him.
Yeah.
I loved Torsig, that old man warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Never once was I touched by a blade, which immediately made me think he's gonna die right away, like some
Guaranteed.
Cop who's about to hit his retirement.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, gonna die real quick.
But, I mean, I'm glad Ragnar's letting him go.
Yeah.
I mean, he asked to go, he wants to go. Let him go.
Yeah, he'll go there, and on the way back, you'll have his space for treasure.
Yep.
If he doesn't make it back.
Or a slave.
Yeah, there you go.
Or 2 slaves, that's a big guy.
Oh, man. I enjoyed the actual brotherly moment that Rollo and Ragnar had at first until...
I did too until then.
Until Rollo ruined it.
I did too.
Yep.
Rollo is... It's almost like he's a sociopath.
Oh, yeah.
He's really good at faking...
Mm-hmm.
like an emotion or a reaction, and then just immediately, on a dime, turns into something else.
He's very complex. He's a complicated man.
Or he's a sociopath.
Yeah, he might just be a sociopath.
Does he really have any feelings?
He's in love with Lagertha. Or is he just jealous of Ragnar?
Or is he just obsessed with Lagertha?
Or does he just want her because she's his brother's, and he wants everything his brother has?
Yeah, I mean, is he like James Potter, or is he like Severus Snape? Does he love her, or is he obsessed with her?
I hate that we haven't met their parents.
Yeah.
I would love to see what their family dynamic was like when they were alive. I'm assuming they're dead.
Yeah.
There's no mention of them.
And I still am not off the idea of maybe they're not full brothers.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I mean, one is very light, one is very dark. They're just, they look different.
They're different sizes.
They are different sizes. So, yeah, maybe that's part of it. Maybe
one's legitimate and one's not.
I was going to say, maybe one's a bastard. Mm-hmm. And if that's Rollo, if he's always trying to up, Ragnar, or maybe Ragnar's the bastard, but his father treated him better than he treated Rollo, even though Rollo is legitimate. I mean, like one way or the other, maybe somehow Rollo is trying to make up for this something in their childhood that made him feel inadequate. I don't know.
So Rollo would be Samwell Tarly. And Ragnar would be whatever his brother's name was.
Yeah. Except I like Samwell.
Rollo is not an intellectual like Samwell.
No, oh gosh, no. Not that he's not, I mean, it's not that he's dumb. He's not dumb.
No.
He just...
Very different priorities.
You just cannot tell what's happening in that guy's head.
Mm-hmm.
You can only tell what he wants you to tell, I guess.
Yeah, he's very good at hiding.
And also, how could Ragnar have grown up with him and not realize that he's... Does he just not want to see it?
Maybe. Yeah, he seems to see through everyone else's artifice.
Right.
To exactly what they want.
Yeah.
Rollo's the only person he seems to have a blind spot for.
Yes, he definitely does.
I wonder if he knows it, he just doesn't want to believe it. But it doesn't even seem like that. It seems like he really
it doesn't seem
not...
like that. Because I think Ragnar's smarter than that. Than to see it and to dismiss it. I don't think he sees it.
Yeah.
I don't think he can. I think he loves him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be a fight. I can see it already.
Yeah.
It's gonna break Ragnar's heart when he realizes it.
Oh.
Right?
Seems like it, yeah.
I mean, Rollo at some point is gonna go, what are you, crazy? It's never you. It was never you, Ragnar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just gonna kill him.
Yeah, because just thinking back to the trial, he was so surprised when Rollo stepped forward as the witness.
Yep.
He never saw it coming. He could not believe it when it happened. And then it seemed like when Rollo decided to stand up and lie, to save Ragnar, but really to save Lagertha.
Right.
Ragnar completely brushed it off. Like, of course, he would never have done that. It was all the plan.
Right.
From the beginning. Yeah. Open your eyes, Ragnar.
Yeah.
We get to the funeral, and I'm just going to say I saw Athelstan, and I suddenly thought, he looks so much more attractive than before. What happened? Then I realized he let his tonsure grow in.
He's got more hair on top.
Yep, he's got all his hair.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
And he looks good.
Okay, not related to Athelstan, but yes, he does look good. The name of this episode...
Burial of the Dead?
Burial of the Dead. What did they do with the Earl?
He was buried at sea.
He wasn't buried. He was torched.
That's what they call it.
He was torched at sea. Why do they call that burial? There's no burying.
It's called burial at the sea.
It shouldn't be. Right, I mean, it shouldn't be.
Would you like to write a strongly worded letter to the show writers?
Well, I might do that, Nikki. I might.
Oh, yeah. You should get
Remember
right on that.
4 years ago when you were still working on the first season? Well, I'm watching it right now. And I disagree with the naming of this episode. And I bet they'll read that and go, oh, we're going to have to redo that one.
Yeah. Let's go change the title everywhere.
Yep.
Let's talk about the slave girl and the death ritual.
I was very just like, could have fast forwarded through that. I just didn't even care about her.
I saw it and I thought, I wonder how much of this is accurate. And I went to Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
Let me tell you, they also went to Wikipedia and copied this almost word from word. I'm pretty sure it's exactly it. So they even had one of the lines that was exactly the same from Wikipedia.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think they did their research on Wikipedia or whatever sources Wikipedia uses.
Okay.
So the slaves, or thralls as they were called sometimes, were sacrificed to serve their master after death, like the slave girl. I'm not sure if they volunteered like she did. But they were definitely chosen. There was an angel of death, which was an old woman. Just like that, she got the slave drunk. The slave then went from tent to tent, or house to house, as she did in this, to have sex with men who said the exact phrase, tell your master I love him, that kind of thing. Or tell your master this is for my love of him. As she had sex with each man. It wasn't clear if she went to every single house in the town, or what.
Oh, jeez.
But she had a lot of sex that day.
Yeah.
Also staying pretty drunk.
Yeah.
After that, she went back to the Angel of Death, gave her arm bracelets, and all her jewelry. And then, so there was a little bit that was different, and I'm actually really glad they changed it because it was disgusting.
Great.
So here's what is different. On the ship, there was a tent in actual historical records. There was a tent where the dead master was.
Did she have sex with a dead guy?
No.
Okay, good.
Okay, it's not that bad.
I thought that's where you were going.
Slow your roll, Nasty. That's disgusting.
Oh, come on! We've both seen this show.
That's true. So, the master wasn't put into the ship until 10 days after he had died because they made new clothes for him. So, the corpse was 10 days old at this point. The thrall was pulled inside where 6 men go inside. They have sex with her while the rest of them beat their shields so her screams cannot be heard. Yeah, which there was actually a little bit of this as they were walking her on the show where they were beating their shields. I think there's a kind of thing to that. They tied her arms and legs down. The angel of death put a rope around the slave's neck. They held her down, and then the angel of death stabbed her between the ribs with a knife. And then they all left and set the ship on fire. So, I'm glad they skipped that part, but literally the rest of the ritual was exactly like in Wikipedia as it was on the show. Yeah, it was all very disturbing. Just that poor girl, by the end, she looked like she was reconsidering.
Well, and also, I don't know if it's because they're Vikings or if it's just for effect, but when the angel of death gave her the drink right before she stabbed her, silly, naive me thought that it was poison.
Oh.
Why can't we just drink poison? Why do we have to be stabbed? Wouldn't that have been a much more peaceful way to go, especially since she volunteered?
Oh, and that was something else too. I forgot that was in the ritual in Wikipedia. They gave her that drink at that point, and they held her up, and she looked around, and then in her kind of drunkenness, or I wonder if there was even something else in the drink, something maybe psychedelic. She looked around and said that she could see her master in Valhalla, and she was going to him.
That's why I thought maybe it was poison. I thought she was dying.
Yeah, she still had to go through a lot after that.
I wasn't a fan of that entire section. I also wasn't a fan of Athelstan's reaction.
That he was so disturbed?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised that he was disturbed, but, like, really, that's what you're going to get all upset about?
Yeah.
This kind of terrible stuff happens every day here.
I'm not sure it was so much that's what happened, but that's what happened to a slave, and he is a slave.
Okay, that makes sense. But I mean, she volunteered.
Yeah, but pretty sure somebody would have done that.
Okay, but he had other slaves and they didn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I don't know. I don't want Athelstan to be sad. But yeah, I didn't think about the fact that he was a slave too. So I don't know. He seems kind of on board with the whole my master's the Earl, though, so...
Yeah, but I'm sure he now wonders, if Ragnar dies, am I going to have to die too?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, he's Ragnar's only slave, so really there's nobody else to take that up.
That's true. But I mean, why does the slave have to die at all?
Yeah, gotta have somebody to help you out. It's very Egyptian.
What, nobody died ahead of time that could help him when he got there? What about his sons? What about every other slave that ever died?
Yeah, but those slaves are already serving their dead masters, I'm
Not
sure.
necessarily. You could be somebody's slave and die before they die. Couldn't you meet them there? Like, I'm dying. I'll see you when you get here. No?
I'll meet you at the gates.
Yeah.
And then...
I'll be the one with the knife in my stomach. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of this section of the episode at all.
Yeah. I was worried for a second when when Siggy was around the ship that she was gonna jump in and die with the Earl too.
I wasn't too worried she was gonna do that. I also don't know how I would have felt about it. Siggy has not given me much to respect. Not that she's had a lot of opportunity, but even so, I just don't know enough about her to have an accurate opinion.
Siggy seems like someone that is her whole... I'm sure you've known people like this. Her whole identity is tied up in her partner. Yeah. And without them, she not only doesn't know what to do with herself, but she's actively in danger. Yeah. And so when she loses the Earl, I mean, she doesn't know what's going to happen to her. She's not really sure what to do with herself. She just knows she has to try to protect herself. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's a very different world for her, because I'm sure that she was probably married when she was very young. Probably went straight from her family's house to the Earl's house.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Doesn't seem like many women do a lot of living on their own in this society.
I don't think they do at all.
So she's in a pretty dangerous spot.
Yeah.
Also, thinks she's going to get kicked out, which would make sense to me because Ragnar is very disrespectful, doesn't even let her light the pyre.
Yeah, why was he so snotty to her?
I'm not sure. I mean, he has all the power. It's just
Right.
It's just insulting at that point.
Exactly. What would it have hurt?
Yeah.
What would it have hurt? I don't know.
But
why was he mad at her? What did she ever do to him? Nothing. It was the Earl the whole time.
And actually, she was helpful. She is the one who got word to him about Rollo.
Yeah.
He kind of owes her.
Yeah, I don't know why he was such a snot about it. I don't like it.
Unless, I didn't think about this, unless he thought that was part of the trap. She was just doing that on the Earl's behalf.
But it wasn't actually her that said it.
I thought that the guy that had gone to Floki's
He said
house.
that she said it, but I mean, I don't think it was in a way that... Okay, I don't think it was in a way that Ragnar would have thought that she was trying to trap him because the information that she gave was true. Mm-hmm. So she didn't tell him so he would come there. She told him so he would know.
Well, he doesn't know that.
Well, I guess. I don't know.
She could have easily told him so he would go there to start the trap.
I think he should have just let her light the fire. I don't know what else to say about it. He should have let her.
We find out Lagertha's pregnant. Mm-hmm. And, his reaction is the sweetest thing ever.
So sweet.
Just immediate tears in the eyes, kneels down.
Yeah.
What did you think about what he said about the seer said he was going to have a son? Because we didn't see that.
No, I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably will. He's got a 50-50 chance. I don't know. Sometimes with these characters, I don't know if what they're saying actually happened or if that's just what they wanted to happen. Especially when it comes to the seer.
Mm-hmm. That seer's crazy.
I think that having a child at this point in the story seems really inconvenient.
Why do you say that?
Well, because he's going on raids. Lagertha can't go. She can't fight. She's got this baby. He's a brand new Earl, so his position is, I'd say, slightly precarious. Mm-hmm. Also, his brother hates him, but secretly. So, it just seems a little inconvenient to be knocked up at this point.
Yeah. We jump right to the Rollo and Siggy meeting. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know who it was in the shadow until he spoke.
I thought it was probably him.
Did you?
Yeah, I guessed that it was.
My notes just say, oh, Rollo, Rollo, Rollo. What do you think of him planning to become an Earl? Besides anger at this.
Yeah, that's exactly the full scale of emotion. I'm so irritated at him. But also, not surprised. Because he's just like that. Why does he want to marry Siggy anyway?
They had eye sex. Now...
What, that's it?
It's honorable. It's the honorable thing to marry one.
Yeah, I don't understand why he wants to marry Siggy.
I think he just wants her. I think he's attracted to her.
So he's gonna marry her?
Actually, it's kind of it's kind of a flipping off of Ragnar, basically. Like, here's the wife of the man that you had to kill to live. The wife of the man that tortured me. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna marry her because I can do whatever I want. It doesn't matter what I do because I'm Rollo and you can't do anything about it. It's disrespect. It's pretty much disrespectful to Ragnar, which Rollo enjoys being that way.
It just seems like he's putting himself in a position of taking the seconds of the dead Earl. I know that's a really tacky way to say that.
Give this woman her own sexual agency.
Yeah, that would be good, I guess. But why? I mean, Theory would be a better choice.
Ever since the first time he saw Siggy, though, they've been making eyes at each other. I think he actually just likes her.
Okay. Alright, maybe that's true. But he wouldn't have to marry her to have a relationship with her.
I think he would have to protect her so he could have a relationship with her.
So you think he actually cares about her, like, safety? Not just, like, he wants to go to bed with her?
Well, that's not what I'm saying. What I think...
Okay.
What I think is that Rollo wants to sleep with her. If he's going to keep her around so he can sleep with her and get exactly what he wants, he has to make sure nobody kills her. Pretty much the only way to make sure that she doesn't get killed or run out of the town is to marry her.
Okay. That just, to me, that seems like a lot of trouble for him to go through for sex.
Yeah, but he gets the benefit of pissing off Ragnar.
Maybe that's...
And trying to make Lagertha jealous.
Yeah, that's going to be very successful, Rollo. Jeez. I'm sure
Well,
Lagertha, who is pregnant with the third child of her beloved husband, is going to really care if you're sleeping with Siggy.
It might actually make her feel better about everything.
Yeah. She'll probably be like, finally, he's going to forget about me and leave me alone.
Yeah.
I think there's something seriously wrong with Rollo's head. He's messed up. Yeah.
It just seems like an opportunity has presented itself to piss off Ragnar. And he also gets something he wants out of it. So he seems impulsive in that way.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with this guy. I don't even know what to say about him. I don't even know.
Let's move to winter in Kattegat.
Okay.
Ragnar is pretty well settled as an earl, it seems like at this point. Mm-hmm. All the livestock has moved inside, which sounds very smelly.
Mm-hmm.
Bjorn wants to go on the raids in the spring. He won't let him.
Obviously.
Bjorn is just so adamant about starting to fight and being a man.
God, he's just a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it, Bjorn.
Alright, so Ragnarök.
Yes.
Athelstan asks about it, and the way it happens, they add the leaves to the fire and it gets, all smoky, and they all kind of look at each other. It just seemed like they were going to jump up and start doing this choreographed song and dance number about Ragnarök. Just
like Fraggle Rock?
That's exactly what I was thinking. But then the seer jumps in and does the story. It's like everyone was prepared to tell this like they've done this before to outsiders or something.
Right.
It's all very strange. What was in those leaves? Was it some hallucinogen?
I'm pretty sure it was, they drugged him, yeah.
No one seemed affected except for Athelstan.
Yeah. I don't know why, but yeah, I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And, okay, so is there a reason that Ragnar is part of Ragnarök?
I don't think so, no.
That's a coincidence?
I think it is, yes.
That his name is the beginning of that? I mean...
Well, that's the name of a historical figure, and the concept of Ragnarök has been around a very long time also.
Uh-huh.
So, I think it's just coincidence that... Unless... Do you think that he's going to start the apocalypse?
No, I don't think
that. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think that. But, I mean, his parents did name him after the end of times.
That's true. Did you notice that the seer was talking about the giant wolf, Fenrir?
Yes, Fenrir Greyback.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And J.K. Rowling, I mean, that's not the only name that I'm pretty sure that she got from historical figures and mythology. Because, listeners, if you don't know, Fenrir Greyback is a werewolf from Harry Potter.
Yes.
And Fenrir
very
is
bad
a wolf.
One.
Yes.
Very
and
bad.
Fenrir is a wolf in Norse mythology. I have such a hard time saying Norse mythology because I mix up the TH and the S.
Because it's like North mythology.
It's like my lisp is coming back from when we were kids. I can't help it. Norse mythology.
Yeah, it is hard to say.
Oh, thank you, speech therapy. It apparently didn't help enough.
Well, I mean, that's not really a lisp as much as a tongue twister.
That's true. That Ragnarok scene had such an abrupt ending. It was suddenly they were in Northumbria.
Yes, it was very abrupt.
The whole scene was so trippy, and Vikings has such a strange... They just have these scenes every once in a while that seem very out of place.
Yeah.
They don't seem to really fit with the rest. It's like someone completely different is directing them.
Yeah. Or maybe
It's
they're
very
like,
odd.
We really need to put this part in, but it doesn't really fit anywhere. Just put it right there.
It's so strange. I always wonder what they cut when they didn't cut things like that.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing else, there didn't seem to be anything else in the show that was any way related to Ragnarok.
Yeah. I mean, is it something that, like, they're going to reference pretty specifically later that they needed that scene to be there?
Maybe.
I don't know.
But the fact that they presented it in the way they did versus just someone saying what Ragnarok was.
Yeah.
No. Let's drug Athelstan and dance around.
You know what would be hilarious? If we got the priest high. Let's do that. And then let's scare him. Yeah.
So you're saying this was Floki's plan? Because that sounds like something Floki would come up with.
That sounds exactly like something Floki would do, actually.
Yep.
Yeah. He was probably like, let me just put some more kindling on the fire real quick for you guys. And then he's like, hee 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 hee.
We jump to Northumbria, and they've taken their very fancy Viking ships that can sail across oceans and are now sailing up a river in the same ship. Mm-hmm. And Ayla is pretty surprised. Apparently no one has ever heard of ships that can do this before. Mm-hmm. I was not surprised, because they seem like ships that can do that, but maybe, I guess Ayla hasn't seen the Viking ships before.
Yeah, seemed like ships that did that to me too. Maybe he thought sea ships are always supposed to be much bigger. Because Viking ships are small.
Mm-hmm. Did the English even travel across the sea at that time?
They must not have. Or
yeah,
at least
I
not
wonder.
that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Vikings are north of them, right?
Yes. They're,
northeast?
Northeast.
So maybe they're like, ooh, it's cold up there. Let's not do that.
Well, if they even knew it existed.
Well, I was going to say, if they didn't know there was any land there, what would be the point? And they're not really like, land conquerors like Vikings are, so why even go if they have everything they need?
Though the English Empire was a pretty big thing, but I'm not sure if it was at that point. I think they had been to France, so they'd crossed the channel, but I mean, that's not sea travel. So.
Right. I don't know. That was quite a while ago.
Yeah. What did you think of Ayla's pit of snakes?
It reminds me of Indiana Jones.
A
little bit. Why does it always have to be snakes? I mean, it looked horrible.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like, for whatever reason, kings are always like, kill the messenger, and you're weak and not brave, so I'm just gonna murder you. I don't know, they just seem like they throw people around very haphazardly.
Yeah. I liked that little spot at the end of the episode where they showed Ragnar on the ship, and you could see what was a new tattoo, unless I just hadn't noticed it before. But it was a tattoo coming over his ear on the back of his head. And it was a little bird, maybe probably a raven.
Oh. Well, I noticed that he had tattoos on the side of his head after the duel.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell what they were.
You never see him getting a tattoo, but he has more tattoos.
Oh.
As it continues.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch for that.
His tattoos increase, but yet they never show them getting them, and I really wish they did.
Well, they never show him going to the bathroom either, but we assume they do.
That's true.
Actually, I think they did show somebody going to the bathroom, so never mind. That's not a good point.
Maybe we'll see more people going to the bathroom next week.
Yay.
When we discuss Season 1, Episode 7, A King's Ransom.
So, are the Vikings going to kidnap the king and ask for a ransom?
That sounds fun.
Or is the king going to kidnap one of them and ask for a ransom? Because the king's ransom could be the king asking for a ransom or a ransom on the king.
That's true.
So now that we've had this
very semantic language
English lesson for everyone listening, I think it's more likely that the Vikings take the king. I'm not sure why they would do that.
Imagine how much gold you could get for a king.
Yeah. And I still don't like the king. He's very hairy. And it's not even that, like, I mind the hair. The hair's fine, but he's got, like, this weird, messy, curly, bushy...
They just make him look greasy. I think that's the problem.
He does. Yeah,
he just looks greasy.
He does look greasy. And it's hard to trust somebody that they make look like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, also, he built a pit full of snakes, so there's that trust issue there.
He's also really surly.
He is. I don't like him at all. Wonder who his queen is.
Ooh.
So, I don't know. I think it's more likely that the Vikings capture the king, but I can't figure out why they would.
All right, Rosanna, what's your top 3 category this week?
My category is deaths that I approve of.
Oh, okay.
Earl Haraldson.
Enough said.
That was number 1. Number 2, Sven.
The major domo.
Love the axe to the chest with the gurgling.
Mm-hmm, that was good.
And number 3, Earl Drunk Swede.
Yes!
Yes. I was totally fine with all of them dying. Though, I will say that when Earl Bjarni died, and Siggy and theory were all freaking out about what they were going to do, I thought to myself, so Theory was married to this Earl. She is a lady. Why don't they just go to his land and rule it?
I don't think it works that way.
She's a lady.
So, Vikings appear to have to rule by force.
Okay, that's true. But what I'm saying is, she could go to that land and say, I was the lady, can I live here? No? Is that... I mean, it seems like there'd be something that she could... But they didn't even talk about it.
This might be a situation of the devil you know.
I suppose.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, I suppose
where
that's true.
She'd probably be immediately married off to someone else, and she has no idea who they are either, and it could be even worse.
Yeah. I thought that was a little odd that wasn't even discussed. But, regardless of her,
Maybe they cut that scene so they could have the trippy
maybe so.
Athelstan
Maybe so.
Ragnarök scene.
Yeah, that would be better. Let's put in the high priest.
Yeah.
High priest. But whether that's where she was or not, I was still fine with him dying. He was gross.
Yeah, he was pretty terrible.
And I really like that Siggy was like, I don't care what happens to me if I kill this guy. Nobody here even knows him or likes him anyway.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
He eats pickles in bed. Not okay.
He eats
pickled herring?
Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't pickles. It was fish. Pickled fish.
Which might be worse than pickles.
Oh, definitely worse. Gross. Smelly, smelly, smelly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was totally fine that he died. I didn't expect him to die in this season or at all even maybe. I didn't know what was going to happen to him. Mm-hmm. But I was pleasantly surprised.
So, we are 2/3 of the way through this season.
Oh, really?
We're on episode 6. There are 9 episodes this season. There are 10 next season.
Oh my gosh, that's not very many.
No. So I want to know your predictions for the rest of this season. In general, what's going to happen?
Well, based on the way time has passed, I'm assuming that Lagertha is going to give birth this season.
Okay.
I guess probably Siggy and Rollo are going to get married. I don't know what Ragnar's reaction to that is going to be. Will he say, brother and brother's wife, you are welcome? Mm-hmm. Or is he going to go, Rollo, what the hell? I don't know where that's gonna go. I get kind of a little worried about like what's gonna happen if, say, Ragnar is an earl now. So is his daughter supposed to get like betrothed? Is that gonna be a thing? I hope not. I hope Ragnar's better than that. But because earls, they have to do things differently than regular people, or at least they seem to think so.
Political alliances.
Yeah, and Lagertha is not gonna go for that at all. So I don't know, and everybody has said Ragnar doesn't not that he doesn't want to be the Earl, but that he had no ambition to be Earl. He said, I don't want the problems that go along with that. Am I thinking of the right person? He said that, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want the problems that go along with being an Earl. I just want to go fight and get treasure and bring it back and take care of my family. So.
Oh wait, I know what you were thinking.
What?
In the Lies of Loch Lamora.
Oh.
Locke said to the Kappa Barsavi,
yes, that's
he didn't
exactly
want he didn't want to be Kappa because he didn't want the problems that came with being Kappa. Locke.
I was thinking that I was remembering that wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Ragnar has the same feeling, though.
Yes, it does. It does seem to be that Ragnar doesn't care about. He doesn't have the ambition to be Earl. He doesn't want to lead. He wants to work. Rollo doesn't want to work. He wants to lead. So could it be so tidy and convenient that Ragnar says, Rollo, why don't you just take over while I'm gone? Could it be so easy? Yes? No.
Maybe.
No, probably not. I know this is jumping a little further, but...
No, jump ahead. I want to hear your long-term predictions.
Well, I'm wondering how much time will pass between the two seasons.
Oh, okay.
Because at some point, Bjorn is going to say, I'm old enough, I'm going. On the raids.
So what are you thinking as far as time?
A year.
Okay.
I don't know how they want to deal with having a very young baby, so they might grow the baby. Not grow the baby like a plant. Grow the baby like age quickly.
Any more long-term predictions?
No, I don't know what else is going. I predict that there is definitely going to be a Ragnar Rollo confrontation.
Okay.
it's coming. I don't know when. I don't know when Ragnar's gonna realize that Rollo's gonna try to usurp him. Mm-hmm. But it's gonna happen. Maybe not this season. Maybe this season. Do you like how clearly I stand on how I feel about this timeline? Yeah, I have no idea, but it's coming.
I will say one of my favorite parts about recording this show with you is listening to your predictions and reminding me of all the things that are and aren't going to happen. It's so great.
Mostly aren't, I bet.
Well, it's interesting because some of your predictions are like 50% right, but maybe not in the way that you think, but they're still right.
Oh.
But then the rest is completely wrong. It's
so
really fun.
So like when you do a math problem on a test and the teacher's like, well, I can't give you full credit because you did it wrong, but I'll give you a little bit of credit because you got it right at the end.
It's like you showed your work and all of it
all
is
the work was
incorrect,
wrong, but somehow you got the right
still
answer.
50. Yeah.
So you get some credit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah.
That actually is how I was in math class too. So this is not new territory.
Or maybe it's more like you showed your work was all wrong. You got your answer, which was 50. The answer is a number, so you're right in that aspect.
Oh, ouch. Also exactly like how I was in math.
It makes me very happy.
Well, I'm glad one of us is enjoying it.
Yep, this is really fun. Now it's time for Cheek of the Week, where we talk about something awesome that we love and want to share with each other and with you. My Cheek of the Week this week, that's a lot of weeks, is perfect for this show because of the duel and so many injuries. I'm going to recommend this 100-piece traveling first aid kit that I own.
Which all Vikings should also carry.
They really, really should. With the amount that they're getting injured, they need a medic. Come on, you need a medic there. Somebody needs a healer. I own multiple bags of this. It's really nice. It has just 100 pieces, all different kinds of things, gauze and scissors and all kinds of stuff that you need, band-aids and things. We got it because, listeners, if you've heard of the Cascadia earthquake that's eventually going to hit the Pacific Northwest of the U.S., we have built this big ol' emergency kit because of it, because our house is going to fall into itself at some point, probably, when this happens.
Along with everything else, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On your side of the state.
Oh, yeah. And so, one of the things we got was this first aid kit. It's nice. It's in a little bag with a handle. It's really handy. I have one in my car. We have one in the house. You can really just stick them all over the place. They've actually gone down in price, like $10 since I bought it. So now I think you can get one for $15.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Bad. Yeah. It was $25 when I bought it. So jump on that.
Yeah. That's a good deal.
What's your cheek, Rosanna?
Okay, so my cheek of the week is a website. It is called outofprintclothing.com. It's this adorable clothing company. They sell clothes, but also like scarves and tote bags and like some notebooks and stuff. And everything they sell is literary themed. So it's either related to a library or related to a book. And they have they have these socks that have like Sherlock Holmes on them. They have these shirts that have like a library cart with books on it. It says "That's how we roll."
Oh,
just super super cute stuff. And I've looked at this website lots over the past couple of years and just picked out cute things. And they have like little onesies that say "Good night, Moon," and just as somebody who really, really loves the library, I really, really love this whole entire shop. And in addition to that, I'm a volunteer for the Friends of the Library group in my town. And we're a group that raises money to help the library with their shortage of funding from the city. We do all these kinds of fundraisers. And one that we're doing this year is an adult prom. And it's Sherlock Holmes themed. And just on a whim, I sent an email to Out of Print Clothing and I said, hey, we're a club that supports the local library. We're doing this prom. Is there any chance you guys want to sponsor us? Or, something like that. Mm-hmm. And like in less than 48 hours, somebody contacted me and said, we're a pretty small company. We can't give you any money, but we're going to mail you a box of merchandise to put in your silent auction.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Just like that. They just
said, is so great.
Yeah, they said, we're just going to send it to you. Just give us an address and and enjoy what we send.
Wow. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, they're not local at all. I just said, we're a library club. We're just trying to help out with libraries. Yeah. And they're like, heck yeah, we'd love to help you out. Isn't that amazing?
That is.
When I got that email,
now I have to go shop there.
I know, I was so excited. I wrote back and I said, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate that. And I said, hey, anything you send us will be great. If you're looking for ideas, it's a Sherlock Holmes themed prom, and they have like Hounds of Baskerville shirts.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just super, super cool stuff. So I haven't seen what they sent yet. It's supposed to show up this week. I can't wait to see. In fact, I'll send a picture of what they send once I get into the box after it's delivered, so everybody can see the cute stuff they have. And I definitely recommend, if you're like super into books and just like showing your love for libraries, they have a scarf that has the pattern of like the old school checkout library cards that have the lines on them where you write your name and the date on a scarf or like on socks.
That is great.
They're so adorable. They have a shirt I just saw today that is an octopus holding the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them book. So cute. So cute. So everybody should check it out.
Yeah, we'll have to tweet a picture.
Yeah, www.outofprintclothing.com.
I have to go there right now.
Yeah, you should.
And listeners, we were able to get a coupon code for you to use. On the Out of Print website, just go to outofprintclothing.com and use the coupon code SOMETHINGCHEEKY at the checkout. It'll give you 20% off anything on the entire site. It's good between May 3rd and May 10th, 2017. Thanks, Out of Print. We love you. We love you too, listeners.
So listeners, you can find all of our cheeks of the week and links, and you can send us our questions on our website, somethingcheekypodcast.com.
That's our episode. Please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on Twitter at SomeCheek.
You can also check out our other podcast where we talk about the book The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Dig-a-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.